one there, one here, and back. More, I'll just keep something beside you. Hey! Ladies and gentlemen, 8-time Mr. O, Ronnie Coleman. Woo!
Here we go again.
Yeah, it's good to see you again. It's been like a day.
Yeah, and people here. I hate telling the same story over and over again. More people there.
Yeah. No, I think there's loads of new faces. I'm sure there is. But how's your expo been? Tiring, exhausted? We're on day 3. We're midway through. I'm feeling the effects, and nobody knows me.
Well, it's kind of, different with me. I do this all the time, so it's not that much of a problem. This is not a real long day for me. I've had some much longer days. These go by pretty quick because I don't get to the booth normally until about 11 o'clock, and then after I do a seminar, eat, day's over pretty much.
So, what's going on with Ronnie Coleman? What's going on?
Right now, I'm traveling the world, trying to promote my new supplement line, Ronnie Coleman Signature Series. We got about 15 different products now. This is probably my 3rd year. We're in about 120 different countries, so I try my best to hit as many countries as I possibly can. Like I was telling you the other day, the last couple of months I've been home about 4 days. It's kind of rough when you got, some little ones at home, wondering what that is all the time, and why he's never home. Yeah. But that's the life I live now, and it's all good. I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying it, and I look forward to each and every single day. Right now, as I was telling you, the last time I was here, I'm looking to have my 8th kid. So I have 8 Mr. Olympians and 8 children, so they each have their very own private Mr. Olympia medal.
So 8 kids, 8 Olympians.
Mm-hmm. That's 4 in the last 5 years, and all 8 of them are girls. So anybody looking for a girl, I'm your Mr. Olympia girl heavyweight. That's all I can put out.
Let's talk about the Olympian. I mean, obviously, people want to just hear about Ronnie Coleman and the 8 Olympians. That's like the hot topic of any time you come up to here. Is like what's the 8 is?
Well, for me, the path kind of like started out, for me, I always wanted to be a professional football player because I started out playing junior high football, played high school, and then I went on, played 4 years of college, and I thought I was going to get drafted, but somewhere along the way, my senior year, I ended up getting injured, and once I got injured, I didn't hear too much more from the pro scout. And the next thing I know, they was like, well, you come on and give it a tryout. And I'm like, tryout? If I don't get drafted, I don't want to do it because I know how much work you have to put in. I know what you have to do to get those looks when you go for the trial. When you're drafted, they already got all the film on you. They pretty much know what you can do because they've been watching you this whole time. So it's like, if I ain't gonna be drafted, I'm just gonna go my own path and do my own thing. Since I got my degree, 4 years of college, I studied real hard. I majored in something that was kind of, it was a little difficult, but numbers became easy. So I got my degree in accounting. I graduated with honors. Usually I graduated at the top of my class. So I figured I'd just go on and get my degree and go out and get me a job in accounting. And since I graduated at the top of my class, I figured I could probably get a job with the Big 8, one of the Big 8 accounting firms. And I interviewed with a whole bunch of them, but nothing ever panned out. So I'm like, here we go. And all this hard work, all these 4 years, actually 4.5 years of college and no job. So I got me a job. ended up getting me a job working for Domino's Pizza because at the time when I graduated college, I was driving this old car and I needed a new car real bad. And they had this college plan going where if you bought a car, you wouldn't have to pay the first note until 3 months. So I was like, okay, I didn't have a job, so I can get a job in 3 months, no problem. Well, it's the bigger problem than I thought. So I didn't have a job, and I had to take some. The very first thing came along because that first partner was coming up, and the very first job that I was able to get was Domino's Pizza. They were the only somebody that was hiring. I'm like, they're better than that, you know, I can pay the partner. So I get this job at Domino's Pizza, and I'm like, man, I didn't plan on this happening, you know, all this hard work in college. I thought I'd be making a lot more money, doing a lot better than what I was doing. But then it got a little bit harder on me, and had all these bills, had the student loans, I had rent, I had car payment, I had insurance. Here I'm making minimum wage, basically, you know, like $3-4 an hour at the time, you know, back in those days. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, it was 1987. So a friend of mine came over, like, hey man, you know, I know you're having a hard time, but you know, I got this paper route, you know, if you want to take a couple of days of that, you know, you can have that. I'm like, man, dude, I can do anything right now. So yeah, with this college degree, I'm delivering newspapers and pizzas.
And you were talking your classes in the accounting?
I was talking my classes in accounting, you know, I was, graduating with smart kids. I was like, it's got to be better than this. Well, one day a friend of mine came along and said, hey man, I got a friend of mine, he said he's got a job at the police department. He said, you ought to apply there. I said, I think you don't really. So I went and I applied to get on the police department. Only thing about it is you got to pass this test. Well, the first test I took was kind of difficult, because like I said, I got my degree in accounting. This is all about, you know, criminal justice and all this kind of stuff. And I failed the test. So I went to another department and took the test again. I failed the test again. Man, this number must not be Mr. B. So like I was saying the other day, you know, free fraction now. So the next test I took, you know, I kind of passed it. 3 months later, I hired on, got on the Arlington Police Department, very fortunately. It's kind of funny the way things work, because it always says, you know, God put you here for a reason. You're not here because you want to be here, you're here for Him. It took me a long time to figure that out. Well, I figured out why I didn't get hired from one of those big accounting firms, because about a year after I figured out all my training with the police department, went through like 2 academies. The guy saw me on the street one day, like, hey man, you could be, where you training? Like, oh, I train over here at the station, you know, it's free, you know, you gotta pay nothing, you know, I ain't got no money, you know, struggling still. Like, oh, I got this gym called Metroplex. You have to come over here and, you know, they got a whole lot more ways to look at the station. Okay, cool. My first day at Metroplex, the guy on the gym name is Brian Lott. Said, man, you're pretty big. You are competing. I'm like, no, dude, I don't compete. I just work out for fun. You know, it's just a hobby for me. He's like, man, you should compete. You could probably be world champion one day. You probably be Mr. Olympia. You know, at the time, I didn't know, dude, what's that? Well, I'm from, you know, bodybuilding was never heard of. I mean, even college, you know, high school, all I did was just powerlifting and play football, you know, competing with. Never even thought of it. I'm like, no, you know, that's okay. I got this job at the police department, you know, I'm just happy to do that. Second day I come in, same thing. It's like, man, I'm telling you, so you could do good in this sport. I'm like, no, that's okay. I like to tell you, you know. Just got hot on the police department, you know, I heard those guys take drugs, I want to do that because I get myself into trouble with the job I just got. Plus, you know, I don't like to diet, you know, I'm used to eating hamburgers, I'm used to eating pizza. I ate pizza every single day when I worked at Domino's because that's all I can afford, and that was free. Sometimes I got tired of eating pizza, I would call Burger King next door, hey, y'all tired of eating burgers? Yeah, that's great. I got tired of eating burgers, so I started fried chicken. Turkey fried chicken was next door to them, just like fast food restaurant shopping center. So I would trade fried chicken for pizza. Well, at the third day I go to Metroplex, Brian come to me and he said, dude, you really need to do this body today. You think you're really good at this. Like, dude, I already told you, the last 2 days that I'm working for Peace Bar. This is all I want to do. He said, I tell you what, he said, I give you a free membership to the gym if you compete in the show coming up. And about, I think it's like 3 months away. And I'm like, free? You know, I was struggling still at the time. And anytime somebody said free, you pretty much had me. So Brian taught me how to pose. He taught me how to diet. I went to my first show. It's called Mr. Texas. I didn't expect to do good. You know, I think that was a big show. And State Texas pretty big. But I won first place in overall in that show. And I did a few more shows, and that same year I went to the National, Men's National, and it's kind of like the biggest amateur show in the world. And I placed third. Oh, okay, not too bad. But come on, fast forward on to next year, I go back to the Nationals again. In between that, I went to some other shows I didn't do so good. I got the free membership to the gym, I'm all good. But at the Nationals, they had this thing called the Mr. Universe trial. The only thing about trying out for Mr. Universe, you had to be drug-free. Well, there was about 43 guys in my class, and I went over, took the drug test. I'm the only one that showed up. Well, I placed fourth in the Nationals because I was the only one that showed up and got a chance to go to the Mr. Universe. And I went over there and I won my class and I turned pro my second year in bodybuilding. So I guess, after all those interviews that went on for county, there was a reason why I didn't get none of those jobs.
When you had a job, you were a police officer, right?
Yeah, I worked full-time in the police department. Not only did I work for the police department, I had these, I was always struggling. I was always needing extra money, and I had all these bills, child support, and I had a ton of bills. You name it, I had it. So I didn't make enough money to pay all these bills. So I got this job at Denny's. I would go in, I worked.
Denny's in fast food job?
Yeah, Denny's, the fast food restaurant. I would go in and work from 12 to 4 in the morning just to make ends meet. I would leave Denny's and I would go to my apartment complex. They gave me free rent. I didn't have to pay any rent. All I had to do was just go knock on people's doors and tell them, hey, the music's too loud, turn it down. That was easy. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I close the pool at night. Well, I still wasn't making ends meet, so a friend of mine was telling me about some other jobs that I could work. So I got this job at Russian Warehouse. All I had to do was just go over there and just be secure, just stand by the door and make sure that nobody walk out with boots. They sell boots there. So I had all these jobs, just trying to make ends meet. So I was always busy, and I was always doing something to make ends meet. But they all worked out in the end.
Yeah.
But I worked really hard for it though.
I know, it really worked out. So when was the first Olympiad?
My first Olympia was in 1992, and the only reason why I qualified for that Miss Olympia is I won Miss Universe. My first Miss Olympia I went, and it was in Helsinki, Finland. I was happy to be there, and I was glad to be there. And it was my first Miss Olympia, so I was real excited. I got on stage, and I just stood there for about 2 hours and watched the whole show. I had the best seat in the house. I didn't get called out. I didn't get compared to nobody or nothing like that. I was just there on stage just to watch, I guess. But like I said, I had one of the best seats in the house, and I was real happy about it. And it worked out real good for me because, I saw the show from right there. 1993, my next year, I didn't even qualify for Miss Olympia. You had to place top 3. Back then, you had to place top 3 in the end pro show. So most of the shows I went to, I got like 6, 7, 8. I didn't do well at all. 1994 came around, and I finally qualified for Miss Olympia. I got third in the show in Germany. I got third in the show in Paris. And 1994, I went to the Miss Olympia, and I ended up placing like 15th. So that was real good because the year before I didn't even get called out. I didn't even get compared to anybody. This year I did, and it was a real good year for me. 1995 rolled around, and things were getting good for me. Finally won my first pro show, the Canada, I think it was Canada Pro Cup. I was in Montreal somewhere. Went to Miss Olympia that year, and I'm moving up from 15 to 11, and things are going really, really, really good for me. 1996 rolled around, and I went back to Canada, and I qualified for Miss Olympia by winning the pro show again in Canada. People in Canada really love me, I guess. I went to the Miss Olympia that year, and I placed 7th, but because NASA, he failed the drug test, they moved me up to 6th, so things were really, really looking up for me, and I'm doing really well. So 1997 rolled around here, and I went back to the Canada Pro Cup, because,
Canada loves Ronnie.
Canada loved me, and I won the pro show again. One thing about 1997, it wasn't so good for me. It was a real down year. It started out real bad for me. First of all, I went to the, Ironman. And it's always the first show of the year. This is my first time doing the first show of the year. I just wanted to try something different, change things up. So I go to the Ironman, and I figured, I won the Canada Cup, the last 2 or 3 years in a row. I can at least win the Ironman show. I mean, who can beat me? Well, Lee Priest beat me. That's who. I'm like, what the hell? I get beat by a midget. They're going too good for me. Like, he's 150 pounds, and I'm 250. And just don't measure up. So I go to the All Classic next week. Man, things got worse. And Lee Priest beat me again. Man, this ain't good at all. So I go on to Miss Olympia, and I figured, I got 6th place the year before that. I got 11th the year before that. So I'm figuring at least I'm going up, So things are looking up for me. Well, I get to Miss Olympia, and I'm thinking I'm gonna at least make the top 5. This got to be my year for the top 5. Well, things didn't go so good. And matter of fact, it went real bad for me that year. And by this time, I'm thinking to myself, I've been in this sport for all these years, and things are going good for me. Things are looking up, and I'm still working full time for the police department. So, but this year was real bad for me, and I didn't think I'd go on. Actually, I went back to my room after prejudging. I'm dating this girl named Vicky Gates. She's also a professional bodybuilder. And I look over at Vicky, and I'm like, Vicky, I've been doing this for a long time now, and it's just not going the way that I wanted it to go. And I think this is going to be my last show. Because the way things are looking, I don't even think I made the top 10 in this show. Just from the call out. You know how you play. Because I got called out way at the bottom with the bottom people again, and he would go again. I just don't think I can do this anymore. So I looked at Vicky, and I was like, Vicky, this is for me. I still got my job, police department. I got full benefits there, and it's just too much work. I'm working full time, police department, working full time to be a bodybuilder, and then I ain't working out. So I think this is it. This is my last show. And she looked over at me. She said, "Boy, shut up." I guess she knew something. And I thought for a minute, I'm like, damn, you're right. If I quit bodybuilding, I lose my free membership to the gym. So that went out the window. So I go back to Miss Olympia, and I end up at the 9th place. And I'm like, oh man, well, I've already had my pity party, so that's out of the window. So I might as well just, continue. Well, this year they had the European tour, and I might as well go ahead and do the tour. I can make a little bit of extra money. Well, I went on the tour, and they had 7 shows in 11 days. And this is like non-stop. There's a show in Paris one night, there's a show in Germany the next night, there's a show in Hungary the next night, there's a show in Italy, a show in Russia. And I'm like, this is rough. For the last 3 days, I couldn't even sleep. It was just that, that brutal. And I remember Captain LeBron was winning every single show, and I'm getting like 4th, I'm getting 5th, I'm getting 6th. I'm like, I wonder what the hell he's doing. So I said, I want to do what I used to do in college. When I was in college, there was always somebody in the class smarter than you. So I would always go to the guy that was smarter and learn from him. So I'm gonna put one of those with Kevin. So I go knock on Kevin's door. I'm like, Kevin, what the hell are you doing to win all these shows? He had won 6 in a row. This would have been his 7th, and he broke some kind of record, one of the 7 shows on the tour. He's like, well, if you really want to know what I'm doing, come on in, I'll tell you. So I go in Kevin's room, sit down in the bed, and he goes over to his refrigerator. I know a lot of people heard this story. He goes over to his refrigerator and pulls out a bottle of vodka. I'm like, vodka? What the hell? I don't drink vodka. So he pours that vodka in a cup, and he goes over to the coffee maker, and he pours some coffee in that cup with the vodka. I'm like, what you gonna do with that? He's like, you gonna drink this? I'm like, I'll drink vodka. He said, well, if you want to know what I was doing and win all these shows, this is what I'm doing. He said, I drink vodka and coffee every single night before I go to bed. And I'm like, oh yeah? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. I'll turned it up, go to the show next day, and I won. And you know, after that, you know, I never kind of like lost it. I really never lost another show for a long time.
A long time.
Yeah, 1998, I went over. I won like the Canada Cup, I won the United Champion. Everybody already know what happened at the Olympics.